For the past year at Inside IIM, we have been conducting one-on-one career coaching sessions as counsel, short domain-specific courses as masterclasses, and university-affiliated certificate programs. Now, we are extremely excited to announce that we have a new home for all these highly rated programs in altuni.in. So, if you are looking to earn a high salary, get a promotion, switch jobs, click on the link in the description or just visit altuni.in. Thank you, enjoy the video, and don't forget to press the bell icon to never miss an update.
Hi, my name is Debru Pudar and I am one of the winners of the YouTube Content Creator Hunt launched by Inside IIM. Welcome to my video series called Catapult, where I will take you through my journey of scoring more than 99 percentile in CAT and preparing for my MBA entrance exams during the pandemic year. In today's video, I will walk you through the initial stages of my MBA prep, where I decided to follow a structured approach to decide the target list of colleges from where I wanted to do my MBA in India. So without further ado, let's dive in. Now let's rewind to May 2020 when I began my CAT prep. Now this was a difficult time for the country as it was still reeling under the impacts of the first wave of the pandemic. And there I was, right in the beginning of my MBA preparation journey. I knew I had to devise a proper strategy and plan for acing the CAT. But before that, it was crucial for me to understand what exactly defines a top-notch business school in India. My previous attempts in CAT in 2019 and 2018 had given me a slight flavor of the MBA entrance exam ecosystem in India. And having scored more than 95 percentile in both those attempts, albeit without much preparation, it had given me a huge morale boost, and I was confident that I would make it to at least one among the top 30 business schools of India. So I began by doing some secondary research of the internet, and naturally I stumbled upon the rankings which are provided to these colleges by numerous sources, like the NIRF, that is the National Institute Ranking Framework launched every year by the MHRD, and by other bodies such as Inside IIM, Financial Express, Economic Times, Business Today, egmat.com, and several others. Next, I decided to jot down the rankings of these colleges up till the 40th rank in general across multiple sources, and then I made the table that displayed the college name and its corresponding rank as per each source. Then I took a simple average of the rankings of these colleges across multiple sources to arrive at the last column of the table that you see here, which is headed as average rank. Now this average rank, when organized in an ascending order, helped me to arrive at the final ranking of the top colleges of India. Now this helped me to understand that which are the top 30 to 40 business schools of the country, at least in terms of their brand value and public image. If you are an MBA aspirant today, just like how I was a year ago, then you would have heard of these colleges at least in your personal circle. Even I had, and the fact that I saw those colleges pop up in this list of the top colleges of the country was a validation to the fact that choosing the ranking was a good way to start off our analysis. But the important question is, are rankings alone enough? This led me to dwell deeper into the matter and look for other tangible components that could represent the performance of a college. Obviously, this led me to the financial bit of things, where I noted down the average salary offered by these colleges' placement seasons, along with the tuition fee for each of these colleges as on date then. This gave an indication towards the minimum ROI that I could obtain if I studied from that college. Now let's dive into this a little deeper. This financial information could mean different things to different people. If you're someone who does not have a financial constraint and simply wants a high output from the college, then your focus would be simply the average salary of the college. If you're someone with some financial constraints, then for you it would make more sense to look at the other column which talks about the tuition fee, how much investment you have to put into study from there. And if you are someone who's lying in between, then you would go for the column 3, which would talk about the ROI or the return on investment that you can obtain from this college. The ROI, when expressed as a percentage, will be great if it's more than 100%. That is, you're getting more than what you put in. And obviously, it will be a red flag or supposed red flag if it is less than 100% when you're not getting in as much as you put in. The interpretation is totally left to you. And that's why the financial information could mean different things to different people. Next in an analysis was a parameter that was personally very important for me. That is the location of the college. Now the logic behind this is that there is an opportunity or a potential for a corporate connect in those places where my target companies would come to recruit, as well as an opportunity for guest lecturers from academia and industry alike to visit and give their insightful talks. Now, not knowing back then in 2020 that the lockdown would still persist, I decided to jot down the locations of all the colleges in the table, and I found myself to be more inclined towards metropolitan places. I wanted to immerse myself into that kind of environment. To make my study holistic, I decided to look at some of the intangible parameters that make an MBA institute great. Now, these included the following. Number 1, analyzing the college reviews on online forums like Google Reviews and Quora Answers. Now, I found these reviews to be in line with the rankings that I put up in the table before, meaning that they were matching with the public perception and the perceived brand value of the colleges in the market. Second, networking with the alumni of the business schools that I'm targeting on professional platforms like LinkedIn. I was fortunate enough to interact with the alumni of some distinguished schools like SPJIMR Mumbai, IIM Bangalore, and a few others. This was important for me, as I not only understood the career opportunities that lie in store for someone who does an MBA from these colleges, but also I came to know an insider input into the life which is prevalent in these institutes beyond academics. The third was unofficial opportunities like interacting with my CAT tutors, mentors, and family friends who have done their MBA from the top business schools of the country. I was also fortunate enough to interact with some people in my personal circle who have done their MBA from colleges like IIM Lucknow and IIM Calcutta in this regard. The fourth was to research about which colleges are better in terms of the specific specialization and the dream companies that come to recruit in them. For me, marketing was a specialization of my choice, and therefore I decided to look at the campuses where the dream companies of marketing come to visit and recruit from there. And the final parameter was to understand the infrastructural capacity of the college. Now, this included physical elements such as the classrooms, the hostel, the open spaces of the campus, and other physical infrastructural information regarding the college. But of course, in today's pandemic world, it is also important to look at the digital infrastructural capacity of the college, without which it would not be possible to deliver effective and quality education in today's times. And so, with this entire exercise of making the table, compiling the average ranks, and looking at the tangible as well as the intangible parameters, gave me a fair idea about the top business schools that I would like to target at the start of my MBA prep journey. I also noted down the entrance exams that a person needs to clear in order to be eligible to secure a seat in any of these colleges, as well as the rough expenses which are involved in the application fee of the entrance exams and the colleges alike. Now, the important thing here is to understand that this conclusion was a combination of subjective and objective elements. What I mean to say is that this final output of the target list of colleges could differ simply based on your own preferences and interpretations. As my MBA prep journey evolved, I got even new learnings from the findings of my continuous secondary research as well as my continuous interactions, virtual or otherwise, with people who have either been in my shoes or who have completed their MBA degree already from such prominent colleges. Through this, I was able to categorize the target list of colleges into 3 broad clusters based on my ultimate preferences. Colleges marked in green became my first choice. Colleges marked in yellow became my backup choice. And colleges marked in red were either not suitable to my preferences or weren't attractive enough to fulfill my aspirations and potential. कहते हैं किसी चीज को अगर दिल से चाहो तो पूरी कायनात उसे तुमसे मिलाने की कोशिश में जुड़ जाती है. My ultimate goal was to get into a top business school of India. And I never let that ultimate goal get away from my sights. I took a printed sheet of this table of target list of colleges that you saw before and kept it attached right in front of me on the softboard of my desk throughout the 10-month preparation journey of CAT and the interviews thereafter. The goal was literally always right in front of me during my preparation. And the background homework behind that ultimate goal had already been done through this exercise of understanding how to select the right business school for me.